side higher than the other, and it was the prettiest thing Chi had ever seen. The ox cart swayed, and Young momentarily fell against Chi's side. Her silk robes puffed with the scent of rosewood, and underneath that, Chi, blushing, could smell her skin and her sweat, a little rank after several days' travel. Young straightened, pressing her fingers modestly to her cheeks, and Chi sat up straight as well, bearing up under Madame Fam's suspicious eye. "I tell stories, and I record them as well," Chi said. "That would be a nice thing for your daughter's wedding, won't it? To have it entered into the records at Singing Hills? If Almost Brilliant were here." "Such a shame she could not accompany you on this trip," said Young. "I wanted very much to meet her. She sounds adorable." "She might not like to hear you say that," said Chi. "But between the two of us, she really is." Suddenly, Chi missed their companion intensely, and they started to say so, but Master Pham rode up alongside the wagon, pulling even with the rolled-up blind to look in. He was as narrow as his wife and daughter, a little uneasy on his horse, and very stern in the face. "Are you all well?" he asked, peering in as though he were checking on the state of his hens in the coop. "Little Nyang, have you washed your face and filed your nails for your husband? Are you wearing your best robes?" "Bah, of course I am ready," Young said, with what sounded like long patience. "I've waited all my life to become a bride." Her father looked as if he might have liked to say more, but his horse snorted, throwing its head back threateningly, and he turned to get it under control as Nyang turned back to Chi. "My mother has taught me how to run a household, and I believe I'm capable, but the reality is so very different, isn't it? I hope I will be a good wife." "And I hope your husband is worthy of it," Chi said. They had heard many stories throughout their career on the road, and they knew too many where the husbands were nothing of the sort. "Worthy, unworthy," cried Madame Pham. "Who gets to speak of worthiness when your father's ship foundered off the coast of the Verdant Islands, when my rotten brother took your grandparents' estate and gambled it away? Worthy is wealthy, cleric, wealthy enough to keep my precious daughter comfortable all her days." Chi nodded politely, but they were still grateful to see that Young looked faintly rebellious. She didn't look like she would be surprised at the worthiness or lack thereof of her husband, and it would help if she was not startled either way. The drovers called out, and Young sat up straight. "Toy cow," she said, her nerves ringing like bells in her voice. "Oh, but it's Toy cow." Faster than she would have suspected, she pushed open the cart's rear gate, throwing her legs out the door before dropping to the ground. "Come with me," she implored Chi. "Come with me to see my new home." Leaving their bag and studiously avoiding Madame Pham's dire eye, Chi slipped out after her, landing more clumsily than Young had from the moving ox cart. Across the southern part of the empire, ox carts were the most comfortable and reliable way to travel, but they were exceedingly slow. Young and Chi soon outpaced them, coming up on the walls of Doikao. In the capital city of An, where the Empress of Wheat and Flood ruled from the Mammoth and Lion Throne, Western Ji was considered contested territory, while Western Ji considered itself uncontestedly independent. Together, these two things led to a history marked with violence and conflict, evident from the curtain wall around the estate. The wall, as Chi could see when they and Young drew near, was a grim and gray thing, likely as thick as a child was tall. "Oh, but it's ugly," Young said with disappointment. "Doikao is meant to be so beautiful, a dream from the Ku dynasty. But look at how ugly this is." "What a good thing it is that the wall isn't from the Ku dynasty," said Chi, pleased to be of service. "I've seen walls like that before. They were made to stand up against mammoths during the early reign of the Empress of Salt and Fortune. They were put up hastily, so they're not very attractive, but often they were built to protect